So another example here, we are given the triangle ABC. Again, however this works out best for you, where you also believe that I can follow your thoughts, would be great. I'm going to be very specific over here. I'm going to write down the things that I was given. And then I can keep track of the pieces that I still need to find. If you write everything on your triangle, sometimes that gets messy and I get lost. Make sure you show me your work on your problems and write them down however you feel is most comfortable for you, but still that I can also read. So this one is very similar to the first one we did. I was hoping to get it all in one video, but I talked too long for that, so it gets to be here with the next couple of examples. And just like before, we can add up the 104 and the 28 and subtract that value that we get from 180. And so then we find out that 48 degrees is our missing angle. Now, even if we didn't know the 48 degrees was our missing angle, that would actually, if we didn't, that would make this particular example pretty hard. So we needed to find that third angle so we can go forward. Now the pair that we know A and angle A. So that will be one of our ratios. We can choose next either to find B or C. If the side is what I'm trying to find, I personally like to leave it on top. Okay. Do recall that we can write the ratio either way. So if it's the angle that I want to find, I usually use this bottom ratio just to save me a step in the algebra when I'm solving later on. So we know A, and in your book it said 3 5/8, so I went ahead and I didn't round because I didn't want to screw things up and get them too far off. So we'll just stick with 3.625, and our calculator doesn't care how big or bad the decimal looks. We can multiply both sides by sine of 28 degrees. We can divide by, well, keep everything else the same. And we can round this to 2 decimal places and fill in. Okay. When we go back to find side C, we can do the same, just replace the B here with the letter C and the 28 degrees with the 104 degrees, and then we can multiply both sides and solve for the C. So go ahead and pause the video now and go through all of that work. And then when you turn it back on, it's already going to be, the answer is going to be there. So don't turn it back on until you're ready to see what's going on. All right, so 2.29 is what we got for side B, and side C has length 4.773 once we've rounded it. If we look at this example here, and we start making notes over here and making a list of what we're given and what we still need to find, notice that instead of being given 2 angles, we're only given 1. Okay, that means finding this missing piece isn't, not that it's hard, but it just requires more steps than what we did before. Okay, also side A, the 125 is across from angle A, so that's side A. And the 10 is across from the C. Okay, so C is 10. When we start, we're going to pick a piece to try to find, but we need to know 3 of the 4 pieces of our proportion here, of our equation. We have to know 3 of the 4 pieces to be able to solve for the 4th one. So that means I can't use the B's right now. I don't know either one. I can find C next if I'd like to, but the pair I've got to start with is the 100 degrees and the 125. And it doesn't matter whether you put the sign 100 degrees on the top or bottom and the 125 in the other place, as long as you are consistent when you go to the other. Okay, and again, since the angle is what I'm looking for, I'm going to put the signs on top and leave the numbers on the bottom just to save me one step in the algebra when I'm solving. You could flip both of these upside down and still be completely fine. Okay, now here when I go to find C, notice that I can't go straight to C equals. I didn't get my 10 squeezed out there. What I've got is sine C. And if I type that into my calculator, it says mine says 0.078788462. But sine of C is not what I want, and I most definitely do not want to round that decimal to 2 places. If we do that, then our angle is going to be off more than you might want to believe. Okay. So remember, if we know sine of the angle and we want just the plain old angle, then I need to take the inverse sine of both sides. Put a dot 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 there because there's not enough room, and maybe squeeze it right here. So in my calculator, if I'm smart enough to use this old relic that I found at home, looks like the inverse sine of that decimal value is 4.518709 blah 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 blah. Okay. So to 2 decimal places, it looks like 4.52 degrees. Now, once I know 2 of the angles, I can find the third. I can't use the law of sines yet anyway if I wanted to find B or little b or big B, because I can't push buttons and about one thing and say something to the other. We have to be able to find one of the B's using another method, and we wouldn't be able to use the law of sines to do that. So because we know 2 of those 3 angles, we can subtract their sum from 180 to see that angle B is going to be 75.48 degrees. Okay, please, I know you think that I'm being too picky, some of you, but I need to see that degree sign there, because if it's not there, then it's assumed to be radians, and that's not, those 2 things aren't even close to equivalent. All right, so now that I know one of the B's, I can find the other. If I can concentrate hard enough. And I can use either pair, either the C and the little c and the big C, or the A and the other A, but I always feel like it's safest to use the pieces that I was given. I've had some terrible hand-eye coordination trouble today. And then we can multiply both sides by the sine of 75.48 and get the answer. I'm going to pause it now, and I'm going to write some things. You go ahead and pause it if you want to do the work before you see what the answer is. When you unpause it after I'm done talking, the answers will be there. All right, so here you have it. I changed the C to blue, and here are the 3 values that we needed to find from that triangle. Now, maybe here is what we have. Go ahead and here in a minute make a list of the pieces that we know. Make a list of the pieces that we need. Whoa, without clicking extra buttons on your mouse. And then play with it for a minute or 2 and take it as far as you can. And I'll check back in with you here and we'll do some kind of checkpoints in between. So pause the video, see what you can get done, come back and see how we can fix it. All right, hopefully as you're looking at this, you think, well, I don't know anything about the C's, and so I know half of the B pair, and I know both of the A's, so I'm going to look for angle B there. Go ahead and pause that and set it up, and then I'll catch up with you in a minute. So when you get here, and you take the arc sine of both of these sides, and maybe you recognized it before you hit the button in your calculator, or maybe your calculator had to spark your memory. What happened right there? Okay, this is outside the domain. You can't, the sine function only oscillates between -1 and 1. It can never be equal to 2.4. So this here is not possible. there is no B for which this relationship is true. And so what this means up here is we say this is not a triangle. Okay, this triangle is not possible. We can't make a triangle where side A is 58 degrees and across from that it's a side 4.5 and a 12.8 side where the B is. The other possibility is going to have to bump to the next video. This one got a little long, so we'll do some other things next.